Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do.
Just what to do, just what to do.
If what you're feeling is really true.
It's really true, is it really true?
Just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geri Petito Show. Everyone and anyone who knows me knows I am the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smart ass than a dumbass. Because, guys, 34 years ago, I was a dumbass. But today, 34 years later, through the grace of God, I can honestly say now I'm a smart ass. And yes, the word ass is in the Bible at least 40 times. And it means donkey, and that's what I was. I'm saying all that to say this. There are a lot of people out there struggling, even with health. I'm a nutritional health coach. I'm a recovery coach. All my services to you are free. Please, please reach out. Someone is listening. If you think my book can help someone, because I sure do, you can go right to Simon & Schuster's bookstore, Archway Publishing, BAM, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. And you can go to my website, www.geripetito.com. Guys, my book is now on audio with my voice. You can get that on my website. Simon & Schuster wanted to do it with someone else's voice. I said, absolutely not. It had to be me. So my producer, Ruben Rodriguez, part owner of Hamilton Radio and Iron Horse Films, is now putting books to audio with your voice. So if there are any authors out there interested, please reach out to me, okay? Now listen, guys, if you truly, truly, truly cannot afford my book, please reach out to me about that as well. I'm here to help you. Before I introduce my two cool guests, I'd like to give a shout out to a few of my sponsors. John Bishop, a.k.a. Johnny B., singer, songwriter, host of the Entertainment Luncheon South, a nonprofit network created for the creative. He's also the partner in the Joey D and Johnny B. Rockin' Oldies band, and now he's also doing solo shows. So I want to give a big shout out to him and his wife, Linny, because they put this luncheon on once a month. And let me tell you something, they don't even keep a penny of it, okay? It all goes. They're amazing. So a big shout out to them, and it's by invite only. Okay, then we've got Ken Ryan and Linda Garofalo, The Way It Used to Be, singing songs from the 50s to the 80s, a tribute show to the greatest music and voices of all time. And Ken also sings Elvis for me. Thank you very much. And they do so many great charity events. They're doing one for St. Jude's Children's now, a show at the end of the month. They're just amazing. Then we've got John Monforto, the man of many faces, singer, actor, celebrity impersonator, guys, and tribute artist. So I gave John the title, the man of many faces. He does over 40, but he was given the title by a former Philadelphia mayor as the official Philadelphia Rocky impersonator. And he is Rocky, guys. My three favorites, of course, Rocky, and of course the Italian in me, the Godfather, and of course Elvis, baby. www.johnmonforto.com. Michael D'Amore, singer, songwriter, performer, entertainer. www.michaeldiamore.com. So, guys, everyone who knows me knows I'm the biggest. Yes, I am. I'm taking that title. The biggest Elvis fan out there, okay? Everybody likes to think they are, but I am. And I never say this about anyone else, honestly, but Michael. So Michael, you know, Elvis is up here, right? Nobody can touch Elvis, but Michael's pretty close. Let me tell you something. His voice is off the charts. Unbelievable. So if you don't know who he is, check him out, please. Then we've got Michael Zanman, singer, entertainer, performer. www.mzanman.com. Before I tell you a really cool story about him, I had the privilege and honor of hosting Led East the last few years with my producer, Ruben Rodriguez. He filled the entire event, and I got to be the MC. And we had Michael Zanman opening for Michael D. Moore, and then last year I brought John Monforto into the mix, so it was really cool. But let me tell you about Michael Zaman. He's a great performer. So months back, he recorded him singing Mel Carter's song, Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me. He didn't know it, but of course I sent it to my buddy Mel. Mel calls me and says, Jer, your boy is awesome. He did my song justice. I said, Mel, could you tell him yourself? So I got him on a surprise three-way, and Michael Zaman almost lost it, okay? Here's Mel Carter telling him what a great job he did with his song. That's like Elvis calling me, okay? Just saying. And I just want to say one more thing. Hamilton Radio is always looking for sponsors, so if you're interested, please let me know. Now, I want to introduce my two really cool guests, and what's even more cool about this are their names. So I'm going to introduce them properly. All right, so Shannon Johnson, say hello.
Hello.
Shannon Reed, say hello.
Hello.
But I'm going to be calling you Mr. Reed because it's going to get confusing, right? All right, but I had to say that because that's really cool. I've never had two guests, male and female, with the same name spelled exactly the same even. Okay? So that's pretty cool. So we titled this show Hooked on Networking. They're going to talk about what that means. So one of you, whoever would like to go first, take the mic.
Thank you, Jerry. And thank you so much for having me on your show. And I thank you so much for all the listeners. You have cultivated quite a crowd. I hear it's getting into the millions.
Thank you.
I woke up to the blurry figure of my mom sitting by my hospital bed. I was 3 years old. I had suffered a fatal accident at the playground. A 40-pound swing fell on my head.
Oh.
And unfortunately, when I was rushed to the hospital, the doctors told my parents, she's either going to speak at the end of the weekend or she'll never speak again. Well, obviously, it was clear that I could speak again. But when it comes down to it, I had to sport a helmet for a few months. So I was the little biker kid in preschool. So anyway, but anyway, as I've taken my voice into the next realm, I've realized that accident made me have connections, and brain is set up to connect, and connecting is what we do in networking, and forging connections and fixing disconnections, and looking forward to the opportunities that are always available. That's how I met Mr. Reed. And this day and age, it's social media. And there's Facebook, there's Instagram, and then there's LinkedIn. And I actually met Mr. Reed through LinkedIn. Okay. He actually congratulated me on authoring my book called Hooked on Networking. Okay. And where I was actually graced with 11 other authors. 3 of them were Brian Tracy, Les Brown, and Dr. John Gray. And you may know those authors or you may not, but Les Brown, who was so cool. I actually met him on a cruise and met him, and he actually endorsed the book. He thanked me for getting into the networking business because it speaks volumes to help other people make connections. And in this day and age, especially post-COVID, you need to actually have connections. And I thank you so much, Jerry, for having me on this and actually doing it through Zoom so that we can all be here together.
Well, thank you, girl.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'd like to transition this to my partner, Shannon Reed.
Mr. Reed.
Mr. Reed. Mr. Reed. And actually table it to what I'm doing with him, because a few months ago he actually reached out to me through LinkedIn, congratulated me on my book published, and then I actually was able to ask him what he did for a living. And because I'm an investor, a real estate investor at the time, he told me he turns his expenses into income. He increases his ROI, NOI, and cash flow. And then I said the three words every man wants to hear from me: tell me more. And then he invited me to a 20-minute presentation on Zoom. And it was at that point that I actually was able to. He was actually able to show me exactly the system that I've been benefiting from to this day. And when it comes down to it, there's been nothing better than this system that I can think of when it came down to actually changing my life. Since I've met him, I've paid off my mortgage, I've paid off my car, I've paid off all my credit cards, and I'm living a nice life with residual income. So I'm going to leave it at that and turn it over to him.
1 second, Mr. Reed. 1 second. Producer, can you move my logo up a little bit and more towards the blue screen? Yep, off of the bottom. Okay. Mr. Reed, take the mic.
Awesome, awesome. Well, first things first, Miss Geri, thank you for allowing myself and Miss Shannon Johnson to be able to be on your platform, ma'am. I just got just some of your information and the accolades that you've been able to accumulate. Your book, congratulations on everything that you're doing. Just super congratulations on everything. And again, thank you for allowing us to just share the platform with you, at the same time. But literally, so crazy. This is the first time me hearing that end of the story with Miss Shannon Johnson, about the accident as a child. And that's the first point that I've heard that particular story. But again, for me, that's just exciting for me, just knowing being in the right place at the right time with the right opportunity and being in a networking space and wanting to network with more people. Networking is just so key. But Miss Shannon Johnson is just a testament that, sometimes God's greatest tragedies leads to your greatest accomplishments. And as she said, she really truly believes that accident led to where she is today. I mean, she's an author, published author, owned franchises. They went from saying she may not be able to talk for her to be a successful entrepreneur.
I didn't know that.
Years down the line. Yeah, listen, that is just, again, sometimes your biggest tragedies is your business, just the roadmap to your biggest successes, because she's been able to accomplish so much. So again, just never put anything, past anybody, anything that you can do. But yes, I was able to meet Miss Shannon Johnson on LinkedIn, just a platform that I'm very, very plugged into, a platform that I think is very powerful. And just from a networking standpoint, I just really feel as though people lose the networking conversation, what networking should really look like. And when we were able to connect and just being able to help her just follow a system and working with Miss Shannon Johnson, and along with so many other people that I work with, it's just been a pleasure, because as I tell people, me personally, I've been an entrepreneur over 25 years, building multiple businesses. And, when I saw the opportunity that we're running with now, I mean, it just made too much sense, because my passion is truly helping people. My passion is making a difference, and my passion is helping to change people's lives. And I get the opportunity to be able to do that using a platform that's absolutely amazing, where we get a chance to really take networking to a whole nother level, because I 100% say and believe your network is 100% your net worth. And being in the rooms with the right people, positioning yourself to get into the rooms with the right people, to have the right conversations, can change anybody's life. And, when I look at other platforms, I take nothing away from the different marketing tools and things of that nature. Just one of the key things that I just feel as though networking you should do or can do to help just move your business, whatever it is, your agenda that you're trying to push, that you're trying to grow, is going to come through networking, because the closest people that you do know, again, 100%, if you could create the life that you wanted to create, With them, you'd already have it. So you have to get outside of your initial network to be able to grow. And that's where the communications come in at and using certain platforms. And that platform is, like I say, LinkedIn that I like to use, personally. It's just because it's just you're talking to a higher quality, or everybody on there is business minded. They own a business. They're wanting to do accomplish many things. So I just believe that's just a platform that anybody can really create success if you're doing it the proper way. And I do believe it's a proper way. I coach my team and coach people that I work with the proper way to use LinkedIn, because oftentimes I just tell people in networking is two sides of it that you can network in way. So you can do networking from a quantity side,
Okay.
or you can do networking from a quality side. And not saying that there's a right or wrong way. It's just what is your preference? What are you looking to accomplish? What are your goals? And you need to look at that from a networking standpoint. And from a networking standpoint, if say you want to go, and neither one is wrong. So it's good and bad to both quality and
Okay.
quantity. It's goods and bads. So just in my personal and humble opinion, just from a quantity side, a good piece about a quantity side is, quantity, you can people, and when I say that, using stuff and nothing taken away from it, we know everybody's doing it, but so many people are using AI and a lot of computer generated things, and that's very, very popular, and I get it, I understand it. But for the average person, when you're getting a lot of quantity and you're trying to build something from a business standpoint and you're trying to make connections or maybe it sells or whatever the case may be, when you get a lot of quantity, the good side of it is you have a lot of quantity. You have a lot of people to talk to. You're going through numbers, so it gives you ability to be able to have more opportunities because you're talking to more people. So that's a great quality and a good side to having quantity when networking. But for me, in my personal opinion, a downside to that is the average person just, I'll say when you go quantity, you're going to get a lot of no's in the quantity aspect of it. And the average person doesn't have the stick to itiveness. They don't have the toughness. They don't have the mental toughness to go through all the no's that they would need to create the success going through the quantity. So that's where the downside comes from because, a lot of people get knocked out of the box just because their mom or their aunt said, no, I'm not going to support you. And they just quit. They just give up because the people they love the most don't support them. So when you're going through a quantity side, you're just talking about going through so many numbers, talking to so many people that most people are going to quit before they even get even a quarter of the way through it because they don't have really what it takes because most people don't like being told no. And it's so funny. This one statement through Mr. Les Brown kind of changed my life. This is something I heard years back. And Mr. Les Brown said one thing, just one of his speeches. He said, the average person has to tell you no 7 times before they tell you yes.
Wait, hold that thought. Okay, so why? Seven's my favorite number. I was born March 7th. No, I'm being serious here. Like, tell me about that.
Got it. So he didn't really elaborate
Elaborate?
on it, but
Okay.
I have my own
I want to hear
theory
your
on it.
thoughts. Yes.
Yeah. So most times when people hear something for the first time, people are normally most people are always moving in their space at that moment. So it's what's going on in their life, what they're doing, their friends, their family. So your urgency is not their emergency. So when you say something to somebody and it may be something that's outside your normal, it's just going to be the initial no because they're doing what they're doing. Whether it's children, whether it's going on in the family, or maybe the dog just passed away. It could be anything. So because things go, so many things are going on in people's lives at one time. It's easier for them to say no than to say yes because when they say yes, they've made a commitment. People are scared to make commitments right away. So no is easier, especially when it's a good relationship. A good relationship makes it easier to say no. So they say no right away because they know it's not going to hurt. Like you're still going to be my cousin tomorrow if I tell you no. So and then again, like I said, just most people it's just about the commitment to saying yes, and most people don't like
I have
committing
to
and
share
making
this with you.
decisions.
I don't usually interrupt, but I'm inside. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to share this with you. My dad, God rest his soul, to me, next to Jesus, the greatest man that walked the earth. But he was tough. So was my mother. But I drove them crazy. I'm an artist. I'm a Pisces. I don't really get into the signs, but my Pisces holds true. I'm very artistic. I'm good fish, bad fish, swimming in opposite directions. My brother, just like my dad, a businessman. Thank God for him. Okay, perfect. He ended up being partners with my dad, but businessman. I was the artist. I was the crazy person. Blah blah blah. I went to art school. And my dad bought me my first beauty salon because my aunt told him we're going to send me to beauty school. So I said, "Okay, Dad," but I didn't love it. But here's the thing. I drove my parents crazy that every time I said, "All right, we're going to paint my house hot pink, purple, and turquoise. Bring your painters here, Dad." "What the hell's the matter for you?" "No." For a week, I would get no. No matter what I said to him for 1 week. So that's 7. I don't know if it was exactly 7, but for a week. And then about a week and a day would go by and he'd call me. "All right, the guys are coming tomorrow." Okay? But that's why I'm just like listening to you and I'm getting this great feeling inside of me with my dad. But you're right.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, numbers. A lot of people don't. Some people look at numbers and signs because numbers have certain meanings, and some people don't look at it. But sevens being that lucky number, your favorite number, for a reason. But things happen. But that's the average person normally has to tell you
So
seven
funny.
no 7 times before they tell you yes.
Thanks for that
So it's
info.
about being consistent. When you're going through the quantity, you're going to have so many no's, and most people aren't going to be able to make it to the end of the no's. And that's when, it doesn't work out for them. So most people, when you go quantity, you'll get knocked out of the box a lot faster because you won't be able to handle all the no's that you're going to go through, especially when you want to own some kind of business or you're trying to build something. Quantity can really hurt you. Now, if you have the mental toughness, then you're good to go. You can do it. But most people, they're going to get knocked out of the box if they go quantity size. But then you have quality, and that's the good and the bad of quantity. So you have the quality side. So on the quality side, again, good and bad with quality. The bad side to quality is oftentimes you have amateurs trying to have professional conversations with professionals, and that's normally not going to turn out well. So you can go after, as some people, depending on what industry. "Oh, I'm going after the big fish," but you're a guppy going after the big fish. You're going after the whale, and you're a guppy. That's not normally going to turn out well because it's not going to have the level of conversation that they need to have. Um, but literally, so that's just one of the things. You don't have an individual talking to the quality person that should be doing because they want to be the deal. Oftentimes they won't make sure that they either know enough of the information, have enough of the information to have a quality conversation, or be smart enough to put somebody else in front of them that can give it to them the right way. So that's one of the downsides to it. Also, when you're talking about quality, you're talking about people that's normally busy. They're business owners, high income earners, high level professionals on so many levels. So they're busy. And one thing about being a professional, professionals follow up, and most people aren't professional. So again, when you have the quality people, you have to be able to follow up with those people. And following up with a high quality person is a lot different from following up from somebody that's more on the quantity side. Because a high quality person, now let's go to the goods. High quality people know more high quality people, which means they can bring more value to you, to what you're trying to do, to your business, whatever that looks like.
Well,
So they know more quality.
Italians just know a guy. Continue.
I love it. Yes, they do. I know a guy, for sure. But yeah, so you're just talking about being able to just the good side is being able to get in front of more quality people. Also, needing to follow up. So most people won't professionally follow up the way they need to be able to have a conversation with a high quality person. But I just believe high quality is just where it is. So I'm not into I get people approaching me daily, multiple times a day, this AI, this, where I can send this out and send this out. And it's okay, nothing wrong. It's just not how I like to do business. Because when I look at it from a networking standpoint, I like to focus on, as we just talked about, the quality side, which is the reason why I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, just going for the quality, because quality can go a lot further. And I tell people, high quality people can't be AI'd. High quality people can be what is it? Auto messaged. They can't be that they see that right away. It's a turn off to them. That's not a conversation they want to have. They bypass those emails and those conversations. Just not them. But what they will do is, because anything in business comes from relationships and high level relationships. And I think one of the things that had become my superpower is just being authentic. And I believe that's what networking is all about. Being the authentic you, being who you are. I'm a strong believer people can smell a fraud from a million miles away.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're being yourself, when you're being authentic, when you're being human, I say a computer can't be human. And again, nothing wrong with doing those platforms and those things. Definitely not. But again, I just believe if I can get in front of high quality people enough to at least make a connection, I put my odds a lot better to explode what I'm doing business wise, expanding my network in a higher quality manner, because I know I'm only speaking to high quality people. And even if we don't do business with each other, the connections and the networking after we get on and have a conversation, and after we know we're able to share what each other does and see how we can bring value to each other, even if we don't do business, that relationship is there. And that's what I believe networking is all about. And you can never truly, in my personal opinion, never truly network properly the right way without first creating a relationship. And that relationship, I believe, has to be done authentically and not through like an AI or computer generated things, because high quality people, again, won't see that and won't connect with that.
I agree 100% with everything you said. Um, I love what both of you said. And Shannon, I didn't know about your accident as a child. I'm so sorry to hear that. Okay, but look where it's brought you, right, girlfriend? I mean, look at this. And
Yeah.
I mean, amazing. And now, Mr. Reed, I mean, both of you working together. Um, wow, very cool. So, all right, so I'll have a couple questions for both of you and then we'll talk. All right, so Shannon,
Yeah.
so when did you I don't need the exact date or time or age or any of that, but about how many years ago or so, when did you realize this is what you had to do and when was your book published?
My book was published last year,
Okay.
and that's this book.
Let's
Wait
see.
a minute. This book where there's Les Brown,
Yep.
and Dr. John Gray and Brian Tracy, and that's my publisher, or one of my publishers for some of the books that are going to be coming out. And it's a hooked on series if you haven't gotten the gotten the hint yet. But when it comes down to it, it's the prior question. The first question was, when did I realize?
Yes.
I realized I was into networking back when I was at Christmas time, when I was sneaking down with my brother to look at the Christmas presents. There it was, a sled and a flying saucer, and they didn't have any names on them. And when it comes down to it, my brother and I started some sort of conversation where he thought he was going to get the flying saucer. I already owned a sled, and he didn't own a sled. So I said, "You're getting the sled, I'm getting the flying saucer." And he goes, "No, no, 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 no." And I said, "Well, the sled is for you. You don't have a sled. I already have a sled." He goes, "No, you're going to give me your old sled because you just got a new sled and I get the flying saucer." And I said, "Who cares? All I know is I got a dot to dot book in my stocking," and I was all excited about this. And my brother said, "Uh-oh." And I said, "What?" And then we could hear this tap, tap, tap on the ground. My mother was at the door. She goes, "You and you, back to your rooms right now."
Yeah.
Woo! Woo! I get to hear, I get to see my brother go through the hot oven. And then it was how many years later that we finally got up to a Christmas party that we're all families all get together, and I recite this whole story And she goes, "Oh yeah, I remember that." And I said, "You are so brave, Maynard, to go through the hot oven always first." And he goes, "What are you kidding me? It's the second person through that gets it the hardest." My mother was a professional tennis player. She
Oh,
forehand
so
on
he
her
knew.
butt.
He knew.
Oh my gosh. But no, it was at that point that I knew. I mean, if I come to realize connection is always about connecting the dots. And then I started a Breakfast with the Boss series back when I was at the Inquirer, and that was CEOs. And at that time, believe it or not, I was working 2 full-time jobs, 9 to 5. How do you do that? You're an outside sales rep for both. And it was Philadelphia Inquirer and Mass Mutual. And at Mass Mutual, they had the Blue Chip Award. It was an SBA award that was given to a company that could outshined despite disaster. And I had quite a few people that were qualified to actually put in an application for it. And so what I would do, it was instead of, talking to your friends and then trying to sell them a life insurance policy or try to introduce them to Mass Mutual, I just got with the Small Business Journal, the SBJ, yep.
Okay.
That came out with a Small Business Journal, which every month it came out with top 50 or top 100 companies that were fast growth in New Jersey, fast growth in Philadelphia, or some sort of something. So I called on all the fast growth companies because I knew that if there's anybody who would qualify to come up with a nice story, it would be a CEO from one of those companies.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Well, they would actually ask me, they said, "Well, when do you want to come down?" I said, "Come down?" And they go, "Yeah, when do you want to come and see the CEO?" And I said, "No, your CEO is going to have to come here." Why? Because I'm not going to take somebody from my company and drag them all the way down to Philadelphia or Jersey to actually meet up with the CEO who's going to come up with some sort of an excuse of how they couldn't make it, but they have somebody else there for me to talk to. No. They have to come to my office so that I can actually grab anybody I want in my office who already knows everything about Mass Mutual and Mass Mutual products that can actually dictate to them. So I have been connecting people. And once I got a number of people to come together and give me enough stories, we submitted stories. We had 3 winners. And one was a top winner who won a huge package from the SBA. So it was at that point in time that I started my Breakfast with the Boss series, because I figured if they came down for the story, now they owe me a favor. So I got them together, and as soon as you get CEOs together and you're taking away all the salespeople, what gets done? A lot. $2.1 million worth of revenue was reported to be because of my Breakfast with the Boss group. I met up with Tony Robbins, and I was at an event, and I met one of the CEOs that actually brought in all that 2.1 million to Mass Mutual, and I was like, and I met him for the first time. I did not have to go and sell him anything.
Okay.
I am the person who connects the people with you. I see a need, you see a need, and I happen to know. And that's exactly what networking is all about. And it's not about me or Mr. Reed or Geri. It's about the people that you know and who you know, and they're looking to you for solutions. You may have the solution, or somebody you know may have the solution. So that's that's what
Well,
networking.
I need something from you then. I need to meet the real Elvis. I mean, can you make that happen?
I think the Lord can.
I've talked to the Lord, okay? Don't worry. All
but
right.
um,
Very
but as
cool.
far as you and I are concerned,
Yes.
Jerry, we are involved in a network of musicians, and you named him the Elvis impersonator
That's right.
himself,
That's right.
John Monforto, and
That's right.
that's how I got to know you is
That's
through
right.
John.
Through John. That's right. John
And
and Debbie.
I'm hooked
Yes.
on johnmonforto.com so that you can add that to your list.
Yeah.
But also, I'm hooked on everybody else in my new project, which I've been working on for the past 2 years with John Monforto and other people that you may know of. Billy Carlucci,
Yep. Love them.
Bittersweet Duo,
Oh, we're
Neil
doing
Pardo,
another interview with them in April. Yep. I've interviewed them all.
and Anthony Wood, and
Yep.
they are actually writing the original music for my Hooked on the Wizard of Oz story
Oh,
that's going to
cool.
be coming out and published by or before
I love them.
Give
Good.
Back Tuesday, September 9th.
Cool.
And also it's going to be on Audible. And who do I have for the protagonist? Anna Maria Margion. Anna Maria is Romania's Got Talent 11th season winner as
Beautiful.
a self-taught ventriloquist. She's a straight A student. She's going to be on in this on an Audible, and this is what COVID brought.
Yeah.
The silver lining is, in fact, the fact that we can do business globally now. I mean, this is huge. On top of which, you're wanting to know, I'm sure your listeners want to know who's going to be the modern day Wizard of Oz, because this is a modern day telling of the Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
It's streamlined to actually be. If the Wizard of Oz was created today, it would be about AGT or Romania's Got Talent or anything like that. So Oz Has Gifted talent show is the ending of the way to get off the island, so to speak, or the way to get back to Oklahoma, because she's not from Oklahoma, but I have it for a reason to be Oklahoma. Oklahoma is known for tornadoes right now.
Okay.
The whole thing is that Holly Ferris is going to be multiple women in this. She's going to be Joan Rivers as Ms. Gulch, the one who drives on the bicycle and goes after Anna Maria's dog Waldo for ruining her rose garden, her prize-winning rose garden. But anyway, she's also going to be the Wicked Witch of the West as Tina Turner. And she's also going to be as in the Oz Has Gifted talent show as Cher. I also have #1 tribute artist Rainier Martin, Donna Summer tribute artist, as a guest judge. Billy Carlucci is going to be a guest judge. Johnny Patillo is going to be a judge.
Cool.
And it's really going to be something special. But when you hear all the music and everything that's going on involved with this is going to be epic. But it's all because of networking that this all got created.
That's right. Beautiful. Amazing. Now, Mr. Reed. So, same question for you about when did all this transpire for you that you knew this is what you had to do?
Oh man. So for me, growing up in the inner city, I lost my mom at a young age. I was on my own rather early. But just for me, just being in an environment, I've always been, I'll just say, a connector. I've always been that person that went from stranger to friend very quickly. And it was just, again, if it was like a superpower, that's kind of what it was. So roughly, I'm just going to say I really saw this at this. I knew I had things early because I always knew I was a little bit different than everyone else. I never really thought like everybody else growing up as a kid. From like we're talking elementary school, I'm talking like 7, 6, 7 years old. People would have certain conversations. I would look at them like they were crazy, and that's why I thought I was the crazy one at first. But they was a little bit crazy. So I saw a lot of things early, but I want to say definitely by the age of 13, with some of the things that I had to deal with, and just being able to connect with people, and I really started noticing how quickly I could bring people together, and that's when I really noticed it, and kind of been doing it ever since. Just started as I got older and had more business experience. As Miss Johnson said, just again, when you're a business owner, you're just a problem solver, and when you're able to connect people, and whether it's you actually do business, like a lot of people network pushing an agenda. See, I network and bringing value to each other, whether we do business together or not. So I give referrals to people all the time for people that we didn't do any business, but we had a great connection, because connections are everything. So again, age of 13 is when I really knew that I had something. Then as I got older, as I got involved with business, I've met individuals and then been a part of an amazing company like I'm a part of right now. Just being around great people, you cultivate your skills even more by the environment. Again, what rooms are you in? Who are you spending your time with? Are you spending your time with people to keep you the same, or are you spending time with people that's making you better? And that's what networking has done for me, is being able to network with individuals and people that I probably would have never met. I know I would have never met. Just by networking with more people, having conversations with people, and being open to conversation instead of wanting to push an agenda or my agenda or something on someone else, just having authentic conversations. And that's been the real key to everything in networking. It's just, again, just being authentic, being your authentic self, and just having a human being conversation with people. And again, like I said, it's roughly about the age of 13 where I like really locked in, knew that it was something different, and then everything just kind of cultivated from there.
Well, I have a question for you, and if you don't want to answer it, you respectfully decline. Um, when you said you were on your own at a young age, who were you living with? Who fed you? I mean,
So for a very brief time, I lived with my aunt,
okay,
but then I went from there to it was me and my at the time two brothers. The oldest one was 21, so it was a bunch of kids, um, kids raising kids,
okay,
so to speak. So it
okay,
was, but again, I am here.
yeah,
Again, it was trying times. We went through a lot, but I believe every
challenges,
just your biggest tragedies
yeah,
can lead to your biggest successes. And you can look at certain things and say that's the right way to do, or you can look at certain things and say no, that's not the way to do it. And everything is perspective. And I learned perspective and having a different perspective very early as well, where I believe you can find good in everything. And I believe that's something that I've been able to do, that's been able to help me as well.
you know, um, as far as like connecting with people, you know, my entire life, I couldn't shut up. Okay, every report card. I grew up in New York, Long Island City, New York. My dad moved us to New Jersey to live on the same country road as his brother, my uncle. They're from Italy originally. My uncle met a Jersey girl while he was in the Marines. And all my report cards in New York, Catholic school, she won't shut up, she won't shut up, she won't shut up, she won't shut up. And then same thing in New Jersey, and they used to put me out in the hallway in one of the chairs. We used to have the desktops that were attached to the chairs. And then they would have to call me in. Jared, get in here, because I'd be screaming hello to the people going to the bathrooms. Okay? So, you know, I couldn't help. That was my personality. So I'll talk to strangers in elevators, and my family's with me, and they put their heads down, like, you know. But that's just who I am as well, because it's innate. God created us to want to connect. He didn't create us to not want to talk to people and not want to connect. So I feel bad for the people who don't know how to connect and don't know how to talk to strangers and all that. But everything you're saying is amazing. And guys, I hope you heard both their stories, okay? Because here's Ms. Shannon, okay? And she fell. She could have been dead. So she had some trauma on her head. And look what she's doing today, in spite of. And then you have Mr. Shannon here. I mean, and look at his tragic story growing up, right? And look where he is today and what he's doing. I'm saying that so everybody listening that might be going through something traumatic right now, there is hope. Okay, you just have to put yourself in the right direction, and you have to connect with people who can maybe help you and guide you. Okay, so please don't lose hope. I just had to say that. So
Got it.
I just had
So,
to say
hey,
that.
listen, you guys, it was been a pleasure. I do have to run. So, Miss Shannon, you can close us out. If you want to share the dates where people can connect with us on Thursday, or well, it'll be starting next week, Tuesday and Thursday. You can definitely share that. But with you, Miss Jerry, it was a pleasure, ma'am, to be on
Pleasure.
the platform. Miss Shannon, it was a pleasure always with you. We will be conversating later. But listen, you guys having a great rest of your show. It was amazing to connect. I look forward to doing it again. You guys have an amazing rest of your guys' day.
Take care. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr.
Sweetheart.
Reed.
Shannon, give
And
everyone information on how to connect with you guys, on where to get your book, all that, please.
sure, sure. Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, because I know you have a widespread audience. You can connect on www.gethookedonzoom.com. 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, Tuesday or Thursday, your choice. And that's every week, pretty much. Yeah, and so what we do is we're looking to connect with the powerhouse people. The most connected people there are insurance agents, mortgage brokers, real estate agents and brokers and investors, property managers. Unreal. You could be an administrator for a property management company, and you've got the power to make a lot of money. I mean, with what we're doing, because we're a conglomerate of several services, and it's essential services. So that's what we do. We connect people with things that they're already buying. We're not a Mary Kay. We don't make everybody buy makeup or anything like that. We're not anything like that. It's nothing like that. It's all about connecting them with their bills and getting them in a better position with their bills, and taking it forward from there. And then a residual income can come from it. So I am helping people to actually create a legacy for themselves.
Okay.
And that's what Mr. Reed and I are doing. And as far as the book is concerned, hookedonshannon.com. You can follow me there, and you can look me up on Amazon, but I suggest Shannon Elizabeth Johnson to find my exact books. So and that would be the way.
All right. Well, thank you for giving everybody all this information, Shannon. Both of you. I want to thank both of you. He's gone, but he'll listen to this later on. But thank you both. What you're doing for people is amazing. And you know what? Don't stop. Just don't stop.
There was one more thing I
Yep.
forgot to mention.
Yep.
I don't know if I actually talked about The Wizard of Oz being casted by, I put a John Assaraf. He's AKA the Brain Whisperer,
Okay.
as the Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
But at the same time, 10% of the proceeds is, and the reason why it's coming out on Tuesday, September 9th, is because Give Back Tuesday, and we're giving back 10% of our monies towards any nonprofit. So that's another thing that we're doing, is we're approaching nonprofits and organizations like churches. They love this stuff. They just love this stuff. So there's ways to get a hold of me, but I'm gonna say just look me up on Facebook or LinkedIn.
Thank you, Shannon. This was great. Thank you, Doc G. Take us out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Love's the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
Is it really true? Is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Love's the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.